Welcome back to my channel. So today we have some exciting but also majorly concerning news for the DC region and points southwards through central Virginia and central North Carolina and even South Carolina. We are under a moderate or 4 out of 5 risk level for severe thunderstorms. We are mainly focused on tornado and wind hazards for this time as the atmosphere is not primed enough. The thunderstorms will not be deep enough to be producing large hail, but there's still a minor chance. But that hail chance will be more further south where the convection will be more deeper. In our area, we would be focusing on tornadoes. We are under 15% chance of tornado occurring within 30 miles of any given point, which is very high and is also more similar to what we see in the Midwest, such as the recent Kankakee tornadoes or the Michigan tornadoes, rather than on the East Coast. This is a pretty rare event. What makes it even more rare is that this is also somewhat of a windbag event. So we have a 60% chance of winds over 60 miles an hour from a given point in the moderate region, and also a significant intensity of 1, which means it's going to be widespread, somewhat intense winds. So we're looking at 60 to 80 mile an hour gusts within the squall line that we'll talk about later. And the 60% area roughly corresponds to the moderate region. So basically, everyone in the moderate region will be getting 60 to 80 mile an hour wind gusts through that squall line later on, basically. So the Storm Prediction Center has been issuing mesoscale convection discussions all over the place today. We have had one in Illinois and Indiana. This squall line, or QLCS, which stands for quasi-linear convection system, or convective system, should I say, has been tracking from eastern Iowa eastwards into Indiana. The northern edge has been starting to weaken, but it is still a progressive and highly active loopy or line echo wave pattern, which is indicative of a kind of a more wavy storm mode instead of the one single powerful bow like a derecho. These types of wavy patterns can produce tornadoes within embedded bows, such as this one right here on the edges of it. Extremely damaging winds, 60 to 80 miles an hour on the apex or apices of the bow. And we are also having these severe thunderstorm watches and mesoscale discussions for the Mississippi River Valley. Would be the main focus or axis of severe thunderstorm initiation and continuation for tonight. We are having basically all hazards on board. We may be seeing multiple strong EF2, EF3 level tornadoes in the area ahead of the main squall line, which is running currently straight down the Mississippi River Valley, not quite about to cross it, but almost there. Winds 75 to 90 miles an hour in any of these supercells ahead of it that could also be producing tornado and large hail, but also very likely extremely damaging winds, very damaging winds along this squall line. This is a very dangerous situation for areas around Poplar Bluff, Jonesboro. Jonesboro, in fact, as a storm report, already recorded a 75-mile-an-hour wind gust, and these severe reports have been racking up along the Illinois, Missouri, Arkansas front about to cross into Indiana, Kentucky, Tennessee. So tonight, these storms will continue to progress eastwards. And as a sampling right now, basically the entire line has been warned from the Gulf Coast in Louisiana. This is the Memphis Forecast Office, all the way into central Illinois further north. And currently we are seeing tornado warnings and severe thunderstorm warnings. Haven't been seeing much of the 80 to 90 mile an hour wind gust yet. We did see one destructive tag for a storm near Jackson, Tennessee, right about here, but that was about it. We've been having a lot of tornado warnings. Earlier, there was a particularly dangerous situation warning, if I recall correctly, for a tornado within that, embedded in that QLCS. That entire QLCS has been warned for 60 to basically 80-mile-an-hour wind gusts, and this also extends into central Illinois. Notice the blizzard warnings also occurring in this storm system. This is a very expansive storm system. So these areas, such as Galesburg, have been experiencing very heavy thunderstorms, but now they're also going to experience blizzard and heavy snow, which is quite amazing. This could potentially be a very significant, or if not the most significant storm this winter due to the severe weather impacts and heavy snow up to 50 inches up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Anyways, so this is the storm right now. We have overrunning precipitation, or the warm wedge, that is tracking north and ejecting moisture out of the Mississippi River Valley farther north into the Ontario area. And we have been tracking this low that was moving through Baja California 2 days ago, yesterday in the Texas Panhandle, this morning in the St. Joseph, Kansas City area, and it will continue to eject north as evidenced by this North American model, and it will keep on moving and then cross into Canada, where the trough will completely tilt negative. We're going to see a secondary low develop right off or in the deep south, maybe bring some snow into the deep south in mid March. This is how crazy this storm is, especially when any storm gets negatively tilted. It pulls in that cold air from Canada. We get heavy snow even in the mid south. This is amazing. And then now we shift our focus to our area. So as tomorrow starts around 7 a.m., the initial line of storms should weaken. By the way, this is an enhanced or level 3 out of 5 warning. It isn't even a moderate warning area, and we're already seeing storms firing up left and right, and basically the entire line getting warned within the span of appearing in about a span of 2 hours from appearing to now. So take what you will from that, but tomorrow on the moderate risk is probably going to be worse. And this line of storms will weaken, especially over the West Virginia mountains. And then by 10 a.m., we're going to start seeing the outflow boundaries around Tennessee. We can see kind of this area of weakening thunderstorms is helping kick up these supercells. I would say these would be supercells around this line. So any which one of these, since the atmosphere has so much spin in it, or the strong wind shear, because of the low level jet that has been roaring overhead at 70, 80 miles an hour, the ground wind speeds around 10 to 20 miles an hour, this large shear difference could be and will be causing many significant tornadoes. As the NWS itself says, there's a chance for an EF2 or multiple EF2 plus tornadoes in the DC or Central Virginia area, which is very rare. And also multiple strong long track tornadoes due to the speed that these supercells will be moving up to the north. And we see supercells coming through the DC area around 11 a.m. This may be a bit early. And then that squall line, notice how it's already bowing out along this axis of central Pennsylvania to western Virginia or eastern West Virginia. And that snow is following right up along the West Virginia mountains, and this bowing line should impact the DC region. So notice how this is an apex of a bow, and then this is the edge of the large bow from central Pennsylvania down to central Virginia, and that connects down to another kind of a quasi-linear convection system, another bow. So we are currently, the DC area is supposed to be on the apex of the bow, which could bring damaging winds, but we don't know where exactly the bow is going to fall until probably 2 hours before it actually hits us. So we may or may not be getting the apex of the bow, but regardless, everyone's going to be getting 60 to 80 mile an hour wind gusts. This is something to definitely take seriously. This is not your typical one and done severe weather thing. This could mean tornadoes, basically maybe one tornado per county, and then everywhere there would be a lot of severe wind gusts. And this line should clear the area by 10 p.m. and then we might even see some snowflakes fall before the precipitation moves out of our area. So basically, we're gonna go from severe thunderstorms 4 hours earlier to heavy snow. This is very surprising. Um, this is probably the first time I've seen this here, and it's been at least 10 years. So yeah, this is very surprising, and or at least it's been 10 years since this last happened. If I recall correctly, that was in around 2014 or something like that. And then we had, and then we have very cold air streaking into the DC region. Maybe some snow showers later on Tuesday as that negatively tilted trough ejects out into Canada, and then another kind of weak clipper might dissolve over the mountains. Might not. Gotta watch that. Basically, kind of that type of situation right now. And then we can see the spin in the atmosphere with the high resolution model. So this has a severe weather, and then it can give you the significant tornado parameter. Notice how we have a high significant tornado parameter in the DC region. So this is around 1.2, and this would probably increase. This is not quite precise yet, but notice how 1.3, 1.2. So that's a quite a high chance, maybe 40-50% chance of an EF2 within a or EF2 plus tornado within a 50-mile radius of any given point. So we could be monitoring the chance for some significant tornadoes. Also notice central Pennsylvania all the way down into Virginia, and that as that cold front clears through, we kind of stop seeing that much activity. But then also in Virginia or Central Virginia, could have a line of supercells. I don't buy into that at this time. That's to be seen. It's still 24 hours from now, according to this model run. So it is what it is. And then maybe tomorrow we'll see if it really pans out or not. And notice how this model has had a lot of differences, but the North American model has stayed constant. Now there's multiple lines of storms and multiple supercells, which just complicates things even more. So as of now, we are under a severe basically you got to be watching for severe thunderstorms tomorrow, basically the entire day, because we're not really going to know when the tornado is going to strike. They're going to have a window from around 8 p.m. at night to from 11 a.m. that morning until 8 p.m. that night. So anytime during that time there could be a tornado strike, and during that time it's very important to remain vigilant. Make sure you know where to go if warnings are issued, and then if there's an actual tornado, get into the closet or the lowest, basically the lowest lying area of the house, and stay there until you either don't hear any more sounds coming from above or the tornado passes through and the NWS cancels the warning. And we will probably be seeing multiple power outages or multiple counties with the majority without power due to the strong winds, and then also and then possibly multiple major tornadoes. So that is also another concerning issue. And finally, the damaging winds and many trees down, and that will be making the area roads hazardous. Luckily, we don't have to worry about hail, but that is currently the situation. Thank you for watching. Stay safe.